Ron, you guys made a move with the long snapper. Can you just kind of walk through that explanation there?
Well, it's just one of those things that there's a certain point where it hadn't been fixed the way it needs to be fixed to be consistent all the time. It's unfortunate because for 2 solid years, we got some real good stuff from him. And unfortunately, this year it was not as consistent as it needed to be.
And then when you look at Sam, what takeaways did you have from that game, and where is he at in his development? Has he hit maybe a little bit of a wall in some of that growth?
Well, there has been some positives, and there continue to be positives. But the thing you always want to make sure is, as you're saying, we're still seeing the growth, and that's something we have to sit down and discuss and see exactly where we all feel he is.
Ron, who do you plan to sign at long snapper to replace Cameron?
Well, we have a short list, and we're working off of that.
Ron, could you clarify a little bit yesterday when you said you pulled Sam Howell to sort of protect him? Could you kind of clarify what you mean by that?
Pretty much what I said.
Are you talking physically, mentally? You're afraid of another pick six?
Like I said, it's exactly what I said, Ben.
Ron, when you pull a young quarterback like that, what type of conversations do you feel like you need to have, if any, with Sam over the coming days?
As long as he understands why we're doing things, that's probably the most important thing. I think if you communicate with everybody and they understand, that's probably the most important thing.
So in terms of a response from Sam, what do you want to see in practice in the games kind of going forward? Because, maybe he hit a little bit of a roadblock right now.
Absolutely, and that's stuff that you have to take. I have to take into consideration is exactly where he is and how is he handling these things, and then again just see him reset himself and get it going. He's done a really good job for us, and it's a long year. It's been a tough year, but again, this is stuff that we can hope that he understands, he learns, he grows from.
Ron, when you went back and watched the film, are there specific plays or certain concepts that you would point out to Sam and say, hey, these are the areas where you feel like you can make some strides?
Those will be the things that Evie and Tavita most certainly will be working with him on.
And on that fourth down and throughout the years, Sam has had some troubles with some batted passes. Why is that, and is that a correctable thing?
Well, the one he had yesterday is most certainly one of those things that, if we can get into him a little bit more as a blocker, we can get his hands down, then the ball doesn't get batted.
But you don't see that as a thing for him as a quarterback in general, because he leads the league this year with 17.
No, on this one he was on the move and he was working outside the pocket. And again, to one of the things that you try to get is if you can get the blocker into the defender's got to protect for himself, and more than likely doesn't get his hands up.
Anybody else?
Ron, if the team were in 4-10 and you were competing for a playoffs, would this be the same scenario? Would you continue forward with Sam, or is this about developing him versus turning to Jacoby?
Well, if this was about playoffs and we're right in the middle of it and stuff like that, that's something you have to most certainly consider. Do we still have that opportunity to continue to win? And that's one of the things you always consider, because again, you want to make sure everybody's getting the opportunity to be successful.
Hey, Ron, Emmanuel Forbes didn't play a whole lot yesterday. How much of that was getting Quan in there more versus what you're seeing from Emmanuel?
That was a lot more about what Quan was doing and really what we had as a matchup going into this game.
Brian, you mentioned it's been a long season and kind of a tough stretch right now with 5 straight losses. How do you remain positive, and how do you kind of keep the locker room positive?
Well, I think it's about getting the opportunity to go out and play more than anything else. I mean, this really is about, wanting to be out there, wanting to play this game. And again, you also appeal to their side as professionals. Hey, as a professional, you play for what's out there for you. And for these guys, it's the opportunity to go out and play, and just go out there and want to play first and foremost. And that is what we'll continue to emphasize.
Take 2 more.
Ron, where do you think the connection is at between Terry and Sam?
I think it's still developing. I think, again, early on when they had it rolling together, it was really about, I think, Sam getting the ball fed to Terry. I mean, he saw a couple opportunities early on in the game, and he took them.
what are some things that you hope that Sam takes from watching Jacoby on those couple drives?
Well, I think a couple things I almost say that just seeing the approach that Jacoby had once he was in there, it was almost a carefree, hey, let's go. There's everything to gain.
All right. Thanks, Coach.
All right.
Thank you.
Thanks, Ron.